Okay, so let's switch to writing to clients. So again, to put this in perspective, yes, you're going to meet clients, and yes, there's always going to be those oral conversations and personal meetings. But again, most communications, at least on very substantive issues to do with the file, are in writing. And so often a client's perspective of you as a lawyer is informed by how you write. So if you write something that is unclear, somewhat disorganized, difficult to understand, then that's how they're going to perceive you as a lawyer. So what does a client want? Well, it depends. It depends on who your client is and why you're writing. It sounds obvious, but people forget it often in draft letters. So if you're been asked to draft a letter to a client, these are the kind of things you need to think about. So before you pick up your pen, first question you need to ask is, who is your client? And the significance of that is, are they legally sophisticated? Are you going to be writing to in-house counsel? Are they unsophisticated, someone that's never been involved in a legal proceeding before? Are they heavily involved in the day-to-day management of this case so that you can skip a lot of the background information and get right to the heart of the point? Or do they have 300 other matters and this is just one of them, and they'll have no idea why you're writing to them and this letter is going to land upon them? Okay, that all matters. You need to think about all of that when you're writing your letter and thinking about how you're going to set it up. So I'm saying something obvious here, but something that is important. A letter to a legally sophisticated client will look very different from a letter to an unsophisticated client, even though the information and the message in the letter is identical. Okay, so that's the things that you're thinking about with an unsophisticated client, going to have to become a bit of a teacher, right? You can't just jump right to conclusions as concept. Explain some legal concepts more than you would otherwise. Whereas a sophisticated client, if you start to become that teacher, they might find that insulting. So these are the things that you need to be thinking about. And then, why are you writing? So if you've been asked to draft this opinion letter, obviously you need to know why you're writing, the substance of it, like a coverage opinion or whatever the reason is. But I also say this because the letter needs to be written with purpose. And what I mean by that is, once you've determined why you're writing, then everything in the letter is directed towards that purpose and directed toward getting your client to understand, informing your client as to what it is you're writing about and the recommendation that's coming at the end. It allows you to then decide in your mind, okay, I don't need to include that, I don't need to include that. Oftentimes I see drafts where the letter is intended for one purpose, but then, I just wanted to add this little thing in here, this little thing, this was an interesting thing that happened on the file, and before you know it, you've got this letter that's got all sorts of things and going off in different directions, and it loses its purpose.